Right. Let me know, please, if my screen is visible to you. You should see an application interface over here.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
That's lovely. Okay. So since we don't have a lot of our a lot of people in the meeting, we can always have a two-way conversation. So please feel free to obstruct me and ask your questions in case you have any. All right. So let's get started with the niche. Now, you are in Hugh's community. Chances are you are publishing coloring books, activity books, and so on. So I'm assuming you know about Amazon KDP, right? So here, what I'll do is I'll search for something called word ladder, and that's it. Okay. And you can see that this is a very high level word, right? This is not necessarily a buyer intent keyword that we are talking about. We are talking about a very high level keyword. It's not a long tail form, right? So you can associate a lot of supply not being there for a long tail keyword and the buyer intent being there. But in this particular case, take a look at this. The base word itself has a supply of 243. 243 in millions of books is an infinitesimally small percentage of the supply that is there. This number tells you the competition that you have as far as your niche is concerned, right? And then, of course, the demand is pretty obvious when you start looking at all of these options that are available to you. So let's say we start searching for keywords, right? So you would see workbook coming up, and then you would be able to experience it for different grades, right? You can play around with all of these options. Take a look at this: word ladder, grade 4, grade 3, grade 8, grade 2, grade 6, grade 5, grade 1, correct? And all that changes over here is the words that are being used, correct? So if you go here and say click on grade number 2, you would see the supply is 93. Okay, so what does this tell you? This tells you that there are not a lot of books which are catering to this particular keyword. Okay, now if you look at the supply, okay, if you take a look at the supply, if you take a look at the existing books that are there, you would see that this one has 920 ratings. Okay, and most of them are 5-star ratings, right? On an average, probably this is 4.8 or something, correct? So this tells you that people are happy with this product that is coming from this 4.8 out of 5 rating, and 920 ratings tells you that at least anywhere between 50,000 to 90,000 people have bought it. A ballpark number would be that. This one book having sold 50,000 units, right? It's amazing, right? It is printing money for the creator. It is helping them with a passive income stream that is there. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I talking about the demand and supply? Because I normally am not known to talk a lot about demand and supply, because I'm a guy who believes that you could get into the best of the competitive niches. You could get into a competitive niche, create a better mousetrap, create a better product that does a better job of delivering value to your customers, and then you would find your market. That is the philosophy that I usually believe in. But this product is something that positions itself as an opportunity, even in terms of pure demand and supply. Okay, so as you can see here, this one has 1633 ratings, correct? That is roughly about, no more than 100,000 units sold. You can see new products coming up and the existing ones selling. Now, one of the things that you might have observed if you have been in the KDP scene for a bit, that if you are finding that the product has, or the books have some kind of proven setup in terms of sales, but there aren't a lot of books which are having more than 50 ratings on the first page, then probably that is an relatively easier niche to get into. Going back that philosophy, this is an area that you can get into, correct? So please let me know if we are on the same page and you understand the demand and supply ratio. I don't want us to overthink this or get too excited about this opportunity, because as I said, I firmly believe in the fact that we have to create a brand and not a couple of books. So when you go about creating an educational brand, it is all about having a decent supply of products across multiple niche requirements that usually children would have when they are going through the school curriculum, or they are going through the homeschooling curriculum and so on, right? So can you please let me know if you are with me so far and you understand the demand and supply aspect, which actually is pretty much aligned with the regular research process. Cheryl, Philip, You fantastic. Thank you. So now that we understand this, let us understand what the product is all about, right? Let's take a look at the product and understand what word ladders are all about. Okay, and why is it that we felt it is something that needed to be addressed? Like what was the problem in the marketplace that needed to be addressed? Now, if you take a look at this, okay, this page over here has maybe three components, correct? One is the ladder, right? You can see a ladder over here. One is it has got a word at the bottom and some blank spaces for the rest of the steps in the ladder. And then there are some instructions or some boxes with text content to the left and to the right. Now let's understand what these are used for so that you have a good understanding of the structure of a word ladder page. All right. So the word few here is the base word, right? This is where we start. Now, why is the word ladder used? It is used as an educational tool to help children build vocabulary in a fun way, right? You could always have children do the regular exercises, or you could get them involved in fun exercises that are proven to deliver better results, like the one that you're seeing right now. Okay, so you start with few, and then what you do is you ask the child to change a few things in there and derive a new word out of it, right? So this is where we are building fluency. Once they have understood about the basic words, once they have gone through some sight words exercises and so on, now is the time to build fluency by repeating the things, repeating the steps or repeating those words in a multitude of fun, in a multitude of ways involving fun activities. Okay. Now take a look at the box on the left, which says opposite of old, and then we have got change one letter. All right. So a word ladder usually has two components when it comes to these boxes. One is the instruction and the other one is a clue. So opposite of old is clue, right? The child is supposed to think of a word that is described by the description opposite of old. Okay, and then the child is supposed to confirm that with the instruction. When the instruction says change one letter, and if the child has understood that okay, opposite of old is probably new, then when the instruction says change one letter from few, the child has to change F to N and it will become new, right? So that is how the process goes. Now once new is derived, the next step is in the present time, right? In the present time. So what would be the word when you talk about in the present time? Probably now, now. And then there is one letter to be changed, which is O, right? From new, it moves to now. And that's how the child moves forward and builds all of these words on the ladder. So this is a proven concept for children to be creating to be using for their practice, and this actually is something that is used by educators to build fluency. All right, and Timothy V. Rezinski, if you take a look at this person, you will see that he happens to be one of the leading personalities when it comes to literacy education. So it's but natural that he's the one who is kind of having a dominance in this particular space, and his books are published by Scholastic, which is a big brand, which is a big publishing brand in the education space. All right. So can I assume that we now understand what a word ladder is, and the fact that there is a demand and there is a low supply in this particular niche or segment, right? Vanessa says yes, Philip says yes. Lovely. So now that we understand it, what is stopping us from going ahead and creating these, right? Can you please let me know if you are able to speak to the microphone? Just let me know, or just type it in here in the chat box. What would be the typical problem that you would face, right? Let's talk about just you. Can you tell me what would be the problem that you face when you are creating something like this? Anyone building it out, right? Building it.
We don't have the software.
Right. Vanessa says everything. All right. Cool. So I think, you would agree with me that one of the things that you would probably struggle with is, you would, even if you had Photoshop or Illustrator, you would still struggle to create these lines align them, and that would be a big mess, right? Say for example, when you have these dots, like three dotted lines, if you have to align them, it will be a pain to deal with every single time. That is what is going to be a pain, right? And then once you have created this entire ladder and got everything in place, you have just created one page. And for a book, you would need probably 100 pages, bare minimum, correct? That's the overall idea. So this is the problem that the software solves. Okay. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because we wanted to get into this niche. We are new to this as well. And very recently we have started focusing on the literacy niche ourselves, right? And that is where you might be seeing that all these products are coming out with which help you cater to this requirement. Okay. So let's be very clear about one thing. The problem is not that you can't create this. You can create this if you put your mind to it, right? I mean, Huw does an exceptional job of creating design resources, right, for you. And probably creating a ladder like this would be very easy. If you request him, he'll be able to get this to you. Once you have that, take it to Photoshop, Illustrator, PowerPoint, Canva, or any other tool of your choice. And then all you have to do is write in there in simple English and probably put some boxes and lines in order to make this work. Right? So it is not a capability issue. It's not a knowledge issue really. It is a time problem. It's a profitability problem. It's a ROI problem that we're talking about. Okay, when you spend about 20-30 minutes on creating this page and you're still not happy with it because a line is a bit off or probably it has got a darker shade, you know that this is not something that you want to do for 100 pages. That's the problem that we are solving. Okay, so when you get the software, or if you get the software, please know that the software is not going to do anything for you that you can't already do. It's only going to make it easier and probably much more realistic and a venture for you to kind of use it to automate tasks so that these kind of things can be done easily. All right. So now that we understand the scope or what is the exact problem statement that we are trying to cater to, I would love to take you to the application and show you how easy it is to create, this kind of activities using the software app. Right. So let me know, please, if you can see my. Let me just close this. So
Yes.
if you see my dashboard, right?
Yes.
Love. So now when you log into the application, let me take you to the previous step. So these are all our applications. When you scroll all the way down, you would see Word Ladder Worksheet Generator. Click on that. That's me here, with the introduction video. And if you click on Access Now, you would come to this page. This page is called a collection page. This is essentially a project page where you define a project, you name a project folder and so on. And it is very important that you organize or follow the best practices of giving an appropriate name, right? So what we say is we say demo for Hugh's friends, right? So this is the name of the project. So whenever I download any of these output files, I'll always have them neatly organized with this particular file name so I understand or I'm able to relate to what the content is all about, right? Because imagine this, if you just go with default, then the files you download will always be in the default folder. And if you are working for 6 months, you will see default, default 1, default 2, default 3, default 4, default 60, default 50, default 100, and so on. You would not know which project is what, right? So it is always a good idea to have a good starting point with a proper naming convention as you see here. Okay, so now click on demo for Hugh's friends. This will take you inside of this interface. This is where you will be using the what you say is what you get editor. This is the editor that we're talking about to create your pages. And these are called page layouts. Okay. Now I'm in the admin section. Please bear in mind that when you get the application, your interface might look a little different because this is not the user's interface. This is actually an admin interface, and there are a lot of things that come to me to test things out. So yeah, that's there. But I think I'll be able to help you out understand the various features while I present this over here. Okay. So when we launch, we would have a front-end product, and then there would be 3 upgrades, right? So the front-end product or FE is going to give you access to all of these templates. Now let me show you one example first, and then what we'll do is we'll move forward towards understanding what all these templates are and why do we need them in the first place. Okay, so let's say we get started with this one. All right, so all you have to do is click on the template and it would show up as a new page after your last active page. So this was the last active page. This was a default page, and that is why this particular page came up over here. That's it. This is your starting point, right? So now let me go ahead and increase the zoom level so that I'm comfortable working with it. Now this is how your page looks. That's how easy and how straightforward it is for you to get started with the content that is available. Okay. Now this has a ladder, as you can see. This has a base word. This has some blank words. This has got boxes neatly organized for clues and and for instructions. And you can see it's pretty much like the one example I showed you, right? Can you just give me a yes in the chat box if you think this interface looks something like the interface that we saw on the Amazon book, or the page that we saw on Amazon book? Philip, Vanessa, brilliant. Shannon, right? So this is what you have access to. This is where you start. Now the thing is, you are a very discerning publisher. You want to be able to create unique content. Now you come and tell me, Niranjan, you know what, this looks great, but I want to have my own content. I don't want to start with log. I want to start with cat, right? So that is the whole idea. Any of our applications that we create, those are designed to be able to help you create custom, unique content. And that is the USP that has helped scale over the last 4 years and gain your trust. Okay. So now if you want to change this out, you can always do that. There are certain ways, there are multiple ways of doing that. I'm going to demonstrate that to you. But right now, what I want to show you is some editing options that you can use in order to kind of play around with this. Okay. So if you click over here, you would see that this gets activated. Do you see a blue box with 4 dots on the corners? Please give me a 1 in the chat box if you see that, because this is a very important concept and I want you to understand this very clearly. Otherwise, it could be very frustrating while working on the application. All right. Now, this is where you have activated that specific component. All right. Now, there are a lot of other things that you can do over here. We will not talk about it. These are very intuitive. For now, I wanted to see something called show solution. If you switch this off, you will be able to delete the text that is available here. Now, since this is the baseline version, it doesn't get updated, it doesn't get deleted because we need to have it in place. But when you go here and you go all the way down to show solution and update it, you'll be able to see, oh, I don't know, there is probably some error here. Ideally, what would happen is you would be able to see the word that is shown up here, right? There is some error happening because we are shipping new code every now and then. All right. So that's one of the features that you can see the words that are given here, and these are all default words that you get in the interface. Okay, these are the default words that you see in the interface. Now, how do you go about editing them? Let's say you do not want to start with log, you want to start with cat, correct? So what you would do is you would say left click on any of these, right? Just left click on any of these options, right? And it is activated now. Now you right click on this, and then in this you click on word ladder builder. Okay, you click on word ladder builder. That word ladder builder will bring this drawer from the right hand side, and this is where you will be able to edit things. Okay, now we have the word log, so we want to change it to cat, right? So what I did is I typed cat over here, and this is the base word. This is where it starts. Do you see that the moment I type cat here, cat is showing up here? Yeah. Now the next thing is I need to create a word that would go here, that probably would be described by the clue, and probably there will be some sort of instruction um, uh, that will be available over here, right? So let's say I want to change this cat um, to can, right? So this is what we have. So what I did is I changed the cat to can, and the linking element, if you click on this, if you hover over here, you would see a purple option, a purple box shows up for the linking. Which box or which container or which element should have the word can? It's this one here, right? So when you hover over it, you just click on it. Now, because we already have a template properly defined for you, that is not a problem. But if you want to custom do it, you can always alter it this way as well. Now, when you move from cat to can, what is changing? It's the last letter that is changing, correct? So you could go with the transformation type that says change a letter, and here you could say the last letter, right? Now, based on the transformation type or the position and the position, you would see the instruction changes to change the last letter. All right. Now that the instruction has changed to change the last letter, I just double check the linking element to see if it is showing up in the proper place. You can see it is showing up over here, and this is corresponding to this particular word. So the linking is appropriate, and now we have got this instruction, right? So clue, you can change this clue because the clue would depend on you. You would have to update that. So for a can, I would say bucket. I don't know, like, something of that sort, right? You could think of a description for a can. I can't think of anything better than a bucket, which is smaller in size, right? So this is how you would go about updating the clue, which shows up over here, and updating the instruction, which shows up over here, right? And that's how you proceed. Now that we've got can here, right, you can see the second step, can is automatically updated. So now what we are going to do is we are going to move from tan to say pan, okay? And then we will see if it is aligned properly, and it looks like it is associated with this, right? So everything is good over here. Transformation type, we could say change letter, and we could say first letter, right? So this shows that change the first letter. That's what we have as a clue, instruction, and the clue would be something that you use for frying, right? Yeah. Now we have got pan here. We can move to the next one, which could be paw, right? So change the letter. So you could, now here is something that that you need to remember. Sometimes this is given for your convenience, but it's not necessary that every kind of setup will be covered under this. Okay, this is given here to give you a starting point. At the end of the day, you should be in control of every single aspect of your activity page. So for that reason, you could just ignore it completely and have your instruction written here. Okay, so I could say change the last word, last letter, right? So if I say that, that would be the instruction that would be reflecting, and it will override the selections that have been done in transformation type and position. So that's how it is. Once you start getting comfortable with the interface, with the ecosystem, you will find yourself kind of making these changes on the fly without really going through this transformation type and position. All right. Now, clue, what could be the clue for paw, right? Think dogs. Okay. So this is how you would go about updating the words that are available in these elements, right? So now from paw we'll go to pot. We'll change letter. We'll say any constant or the last letter, right? Change the last letter, and here I would say pot to pot. No, here you can see that when we move from paw to pot, we are actually changing the last two. So this transformation type is not working out for me, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say change the last two letters, right? And this is where I'm using the customization options that are available for me. And here, pulled soup or pasta, so this should be fine. Once I'm done with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and I would have all of the changes that I've done, those would be available here. You can see that instead of starting with log, that's what we started with, we now have cat. We've got this where change the last letter a bucket. Again, I could have shown the solution for you, but then for some reason it is not working. So we'll have to do it another time. But you can see that this is representing can. This is representing a pan. Change the first letter, something that you use for frying. And then here you would change the last letter and write paw. And then this would move to pot. So you are controlling the words, you are controlling the clues, and you are controlling the instructions. Now tell me something. Do you think you are enabled to create a quality word ladder activity with your own content, or are you being restricted with the software being restrictive in nature and not allowing you to do things, right? So you can see that everything that you do is custom created. Now, if you see here, we have got three letters, right? Three letters in this word. If you want to change it to four-lettered word, you can always do that simply by selecting the right word. Okay, you just select the right word and then go ahead and do it. Correct? Now, a question might pop up here. Niranjan, this looks good. But what you've done is in the selection, when you went about the selection, what you did is you selected the words that are available, right? What I did is I selected the words that were available to me, and it looked as if these words have been rigged in my favor, isn't it? When you look at it for the first time and you are devoid of any sort of bias towards the product or towards Niranjan, you might think, Niranjan, probably these words are a little way too organized for this presentation because they look to be aligned, like hat, mat, pot, vat, they are connected to each other, right? The answer is you are true, you are correct, right? Your assessment is correct that the software is organized. In such a manner that it gives me an unfair advantage when I present it. It looks neat, it looks nice. And that is not a feature that is created for me, but that is an inherent feature that is created for you because the software is smart enough to give you some starting blocks that you can use in order to create these word ladders. Okay, so the selection is made in such a manner that the software does a good job of suggesting or recommending stuff to you when you are working with these. All right. Now, let's say you want to use a word of your own. Say, for example, we start with cat. Okay. But I don't want to go from cat to can. Rather, I want to go from cat to say catch, CATCH. That's how I want to move forward. How do I go about doing that? Because I need four lines over here, right? Instead of three, I need catch to show up and so on, correct? But you don't see catch here, do you? There's nothing called catch in here. In that case, you have to use the option to override this. And how do you do that? Simple. You just type it out here. Okay. When you type it out, it will show you this kind of an option. Click on that. And now you have introduced a custom word, which is catch. Okay, so now we are moving from cat to catch. Of course, when I move from cat to catch, I cannot use this transformation type position. It will be too cumbersome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the instruction directly. Instead of changing the last letter, what I would say is add two letters at the end. Right? So that would be the instruction that I would give here. And that would be the instruction that would be applicable, right? And I would just confirm which link, which element it is being linked to. So this is all fine. Now I'll go ahead and change the clue. So what do you do when you have a word like catch, right? What would be a clue? Think of a clue. You could use ChatGPT. You could use Claude, or you could just have a little bit of fun with it. So how about we say, I don't know. Okay, so how do we
Opposite of
say,
throw.
sorry, could you come again?
Opposite of throwing or opposite
Yeah,
of throw.
perfect. That's a great example. So I would say opposite of throw, right? Let's go with that. And now that I've done it, what I do is I'll just click over here. So I would expect that this thing should have changed. Now you can see this has got 5 letters in here, or space for 5 letters in here. If it is not convenient for you, you can always drag and drop it so that it is well within the vertical lines that we have for the ladder. And as you can see, we have said add two letters at the end and opposite of throw. Do you see how it works? Do you see the pattern? You don't have to go with the suggestions that are there. The suggestions are there to make your life easy, to give you a starting point. But the whole idea is with all those LLMs available to you, with all the libraries that are available to you, you have the ability to craft your own word lists And that unique word list is going to be converted into a premium quality word ladder with ease when you start working with this. Now, you might be questioning, Niranjan, you know what, if I reduce the size here, what is going to happen is the letters that show up here, the space for the child to write the letters would become smaller. We have a solution for that, and I'll talk about it in a bit. But right now, do you see a value proposition? Do you see a problem being solved for you when it comes to creating word ladders like this? Because now you don't have to worry about the alignment issues. You don't have to worry about putting an extra line in there because you want an additional letter, right? So a lot of your designing headache is taken care of. You just have to work with the LLM of your choice, get a word list ready, and then get started working with this application. Is this something that you are resonating with? Can you please give me a yes if you see value in this already, and this kind of helping you get into the niche, right? Let's see what kind of feedback we're getting here. So Vanessa says great choices, yes. Andromeda says yes. Valerie says yes. Heather says yes. Hugh says yes. I'm doing 10 books a week. That's too much competition for us, Hugh. Erin says yes. Possible to remove the image of the ladder. Steph, great question. Great question. Everyone, please keep your questions coming, okay? So now Steph has asked us, can we remove the ladder? Steph, a quick question in response to that. Why would you want to remove it? What would be the
Because
motivation?
I'm thinking about the same game, but more original with ladders. Let's say if you want to create the ladders for Halloween, you can create the ladder with bones instead of, it's not boring. I'm sorry to say that.
Right.
It's not boring, but this is like, like a straight ladder. Let's put it that way. So if I want to be more creative, the game is
Okay.
cool, but you
Yeah.
can use other items to create
Yeah.
your ladder.
Right.
That's why I'm
Get it,
asking.
get it. I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But Steph, I've got a follow-up question for you. Do you read mind by any chance?
Almost.
Yeah, I
I'm
think that's what
almost
we're
there.
done here.
No, I was just, this is great. And it's the first time I see the ladder game. I was not aware of that type of games, but I was just thinking about, I'm creating a book for Halloween right now. So I'm just thinking about why not use a team, a team to create ladder words. And then you can create like whatever ladders you want, like with bones, with brooms, so I'm just thinking about it. And please
That's
others
a
take my ideas if you want. No worries.
right. I think that's a brilliant question. And the thing is, you can do that. All you have to do is click on it and delete it. Do you see this? That's all it takes. And
Yeah,
then what you
it's
can do
cool.
is
And
you
then you
can
can,
insert. You can insert an image over here, have this image, and replace this ladder with another ladder. Right now, if you remember, when we created this 5 letter word, it actually went across the vertical bars of the ladders, right? So it was not we are not able to accommodate it. For that reason, what we have done is in the front end we have given you the ability to choose the width of the ladder. There are 4 different variations available to you in terms of the widths, right? So for example, if you take a look at this one here, let's say this particular example, do you see that? Where is the template, right? you know uh, Yeah. So do you see that this ladder is wider as compared to the other one, correct? So for every single scenario, what we have done is we have given you options to choose between 4 different widths so that you can easily accommodate the words that you want to play around with, right? So and again, as you asked earlier, like we can delete the ladder and introduce new ladders, or you can be creative with the kind of ladders that you want to introduce here. In fact, we have something that I'll be showing you in a bit, but since we are talking about the front end offer, I just want to kind of focus on this for the time being. Okay, so you will be able to change the complexity of the worksheets by changing the number of letters that you have in the words. For example, you could start with 2 letter words like at, as, is, it, in, right? That kind of stuff. Once you have got kids acquainted with 2 lettered words, you could move to 3. Do you remember now when we did the research, we were seeing that there is demand for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, and so on. So where do you think those grade divisions are coming from? they are coming from the difficulties of the words that are being used. So essentially your process remains same, your machine remains same, and the input that you put into it changes, which is the words that you're using. And once you align the words with the grade that you want to create your books for, you have your books ready. Right? So that's how you would go about altering this. And this is what the front-end product is all about. So in the front-end product, you would be getting a lot of templates. Divide that by 4. The reason you want to divide that by 4 is because we have got 4 different widths that are available. Now, once that is taken care of, you would now have the ability to choose a template that has 2 letters. Let's say, for example, we go with this one, okay? So this specific template that you see here has a 2-lettered option here, 2-letter word option, right? Here we have 3. Now you might be wondering, Niranjan, when you edited this, just changing the words actually updated itself, right? So we don't have to have so many unique templates. Well, we just gave it so that it saves you a few precious minutes, so that you know that, well, I have 4 different widths of ladders to work with, and I have got a ladder option where I have got, say, 2-letter words, 3-letter words, 4-letter words, and 5-lettered words. Okay. So in front end, you get access to 5-lettered words, up to 5-letter words. You cannot create a 6-lettered word if you just have front end access. But 2, 3, 4, 5 is something that is going to give you a lot of option to play around with, right? Then you have ladders with different steps. Say, for example, this one has 1, 2, 3, and 4 steps. So you can have 4 derivative words that you can provide as a practice for the kids to practice with. In here, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is another variation where you have 5 steps in the ladder. So in the front-end offer, the ladder designs that you get 3 steps, 4 steps, and 5 steps. And that is all about the front-end offer that you see here. Okay. So now, can I ask you a question? Does this give you an idea of what the front-end is? And if you see value in this application in terms of it allowing you to create in-demand books in a relatively low competition niche with relative ease? Give me a yes if you'd agree with it. Lovely. Thank you so much, everyone. Was thinking of stepping stones or a zebra crossing. Oh, that's a great idea. It would be a fence. Can you do a ladder going horizontal instead of vertical? You could go down a rope instead of going up. Right, some really cool ideas. And I have this habit of reading minds a little bit as well. So we will probably explore what else is waiting for us. Okay. So now that you understand, and now you understand how you can go about editing these, like, how you can go about updating it, you will be able to now move forward to the next step, which is OTO1, right? So in the front end, of course, when we talk about features, you'll get access to 100 downloads per month, and you'll get access to black and white elements. But the moment you start moving to OTO1, things change, and things change in a big way. What happens is, when you are working with OTO1, you get access to unlimited lettered words. Like, say, for example, you can have 6-letter word, 7-letter word, 10-lettered word. Heck, if you have a 26-letter word, that also can be accommodated. It's not a restriction from the software's perspective. All right. So you will be able to create words without any limitation whatsoever. That basically means you can cater to advanced students, higher grades, and so on. That's number one. Number two is, you will be able to use ladders that have 6 steps, 7 steps, 8 steps, 9 steps, and 10 steps. So essentially, the reach that you have with OTO1 is magnified, and it gives you the ability to craft even more high quality pages for higher grades and more challenging ones. That's what you'll be able to achieve with this. Not only that, the upload functionality, the image upload functionality that you see here is available as a part of OTO1. In OTO1, you'll be able to download the PowerPoint version, which is not available in the front end. The PowerPoint download is available in OTO1 as well, right? This is where it gets more powerful. Okay, this is an advanced version of what we have in the front end. But everything I have told you about OTO1 is on one side. On the other side, we have got the adaptive clone offer. Now, this adaptive cloning opportunity that we have here is going to clone your pages in a big way where you'll be able to create an entire manuscript in one go, right? Do you feel that is something that would excite you if we could create an entire manuscript in one go? Would that be exciting to you? What is the format when you are ready to download your pages? Steph, you can download the pages in these four formats: PNG, JPG, and PDF if you have the front-end offer only. And if you have what you want, you'll be able to download the PPTX files. Okay? Right? So now that we have seen, like we have seen how we go about editing all of these options, right? Now what we can do is we can go ahead and see, what we'll do is we'll try to see if we are able to bulk clone a page, right? So let's go ahead and have a template here, right? I'm sorry, I'm not really well prepared for this presentation because,
it was last minute, yeah. It was last minute, mate.
Right.
So, I explained to everybody that you're saving me today because I wasn't prepared for anything either. But no, everybody's great.
Yeah, but this group is awesome, right? We can just be ourselves and be fine with it, right? So it's all good. All right, so everyone, let me just try to figure out the input files. Just give me a moment.
While Naranjan's doing that, okay, there's loads of things that you can do with this. Rather than having ladders on one side, like it's already been mentioned, you could have somebody climbing up a rope, okay? You can take images from the lady in the shoe pack, get a rope from somewhere, right? It's easy to make a rope, and just have the kid going up the rope. Do you know those big machines at the fun fair that you hit and the ball goes up? You could have one of those machines next to it. Another idea, right, is to get a pyramid, half a pyramid, put it on the page, and have children or people halfway up of where the words need to be written. You could have that on one side. So there's many, many ways that you can use this. Bricks, I heard, okay? Rock climbing, so many different things, all right? That's what I like about the software. I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah, thanks, you. Those are some amazing ideas. I really appreciate it. Everyone, now you know that you've seen the ability that we had in order to kind of connect these various elements, and we did that manually. So every page could be done that way. But then, if you've been in our ecosystem, if you know the way we function, we want efficiency to be added to your overall process, right? So for that reason, we didn't want you to be just go ahead and have to edit each one of these manually. The overall idea is to save you hours and hours of your time so that you feel much more confident about creating quality books faster, save a lot of time without compromising on quality, right? So that's why we have a feature called bulk cloning. So what does bulk cloning do? There are two options. One is simple bulk clone and one is word ladder bulk upload. Now this is called a bulk book creator. What it does is it actually creates a number of pages from an input file in one go. Once you have the input file ready, it will go ahead and upload it. When you upload it, it will go ahead and create multiple pages for you. Imagine creating 10 pages, 20 pages, 30 pages, 50 pages, or even 100 pages once you have your Excel sheet ready or CSV file ready. And your CSV file consists of what? Words, clues, and instructions. And when you use ChatGPT or Claude nowadays, you know that that is super simple for you to create. This option here does the cloning part in bulk, but it doesn't change the content. It simply retains the design aspects of the pages and replicates the same content over and over again. Okay, so this is something that you are interested in, and this is a very powerful addition. In fact, this one feature is way worth the price of way more worth the price of what you want that to be paying, right? So let me show you how it works. Now imagine you have this particular page, you're happy with the design, the way it looks and everything else, right? So by the way, these are all text elements. You can always edit them like regular text, okay? So this text box is introduced from here. So there are a lot of features here. I'm not going through them. It'll take a lot of time. So let's just focus on the core features here. Now, if you go to this bulk clone option and you see here, you'll see a download sample file link. When you download this file, you will get a CSV file, which would have a format in which your content needs to be updated. right? So once you've put your words, your clues, your instructions in the same format and got an input file ready, then all you have to do is click here and import that CSV file and let the application do its job, right? So this is one page. Would you like to see it in action? Can I get some yeses from you so that I know that you're truly, truly interested in seeing how this is going to help you? Lovely. Huw, I love your group, okay? Erin says, I just recently got on, but wow, I love this from what I've seen in the last 20 minutes. Erin, thank you so much. Steph says yes, Vanessa says yes, Andromeda says yes, Erin says yes, steps on how we can get to issue. So now that you know that you have a page, let's call this a master page, everyone, all right? And what I've done is I have created an input file by downloading this template and updating the words in this input file. So what I'll do is I'll import that file over here, right? I'll navigate to a folder where I have kept all of these files, right? So this is an input file that my team put together really quick for me so that I can demonstrate this to you. We have about 3 sets of words, each set corresponding to a page. And when you open this, you would be able to create multiple pages in one go. Remember, we started with one page and now you have got 3 pages, okay? You can see the first one is the same as the master because the word list that we had in the template was the same word list, right? But after that, if you see, we have got cat here, we have got pin here, and so on, okay? How long did it take you to edit 3 pages over here? How long did it take you to come up with these 3 pages if you have your input data ready? Can I say a minute and still be conservative with my estimate? Would that be a fair assessment? Now compare this with the time that you would have taken when editing it, right? Do you see that there is a significant improvement? Because imagine this, if you have data for 30 pages, you would have created those 30 pages literally in the same time that we created the 3 pages in. Is this a light bulb moment for you? Can you let me know if this is opening up your mind to the possibilities in terms of time savings that you'll be able to have without really compromising on quality, because the baseline version on which these pages are being built is the master spreadsheet, which is what you control. You define what it's going to look like. You define what are the quality metrics that it should take in order for you to be able to create those boxes. And once you have them, once you have that thing ready in your first page, you'll be able to clone them. If I created this 3 in 1 minute, probably creating 100 pages. If I have the data available in the Excel sheet, yeah, if I have 100 pages with the input data available, then probably it would take me 2 to 3 minutes to have all of this information. Now compare this with the initial thought that we had, where we would probably have the Word data available with us, and then we would go to our favorite software like Photoshop, Illustrator, Canva, and start creating this. Let us make an assumption that Huw gives us the ladder as well, right? Do you still see the benefit of moving away from a clunky but professionally renowned application which does a design job nicely, but then it is not geared towards the specific requirement of you and I, where we are business owners, we are publishers, right? And we want an ROI without really compromising on the quality, correct? So that's what this is all about, right? Now that you understand the power of OTO1, let's move on. By the way, OTO1 also gives you the ability to have unlimited downloads. You don't have to worry about kind of, any sort of restrictions. None of that stuff is applicable the moment you purchase OTO1. And this is a launch special offer that we are coming up with. So it will be a one-time thing. Once you pay, you have access to the stuff that we're talking about. All right. So can I really get a feedback on your thought process on what you've seen so far? I think I have a very good comment from Steph, I believe, it was Erin, I believe, who mentioned that she is blown away by the content that she has seen so far. Any of you would like to share your thoughts? Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak to us and let us know what you think about it so far.
I like it, mate, to be fair. When I started the call, I said to everybody, I'm new to this as well because I haven't played with it. But from what I can see, it's great. I'm just thinking about all the ways to implement it. I'm really excited for what's coming.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Would you like to go ahead and kind of share your thoughts so far, whatever you've seen? Come on. I'm sure
I think it's brilliant, but it worries me that not you, not us, that some people will just think, oh, well, we've got to stick to this, and therefore it's restrictive.
Yeah, I think that is
and we don't. We need to be creative, and people seem to think that you stick to that. And as Huw said, we put it along with other things. And once you actually start thinking, then they'll realise how really good this is.
Yeah.
It's as good as you make it. And if you're not prepared to do the work because you think press a button and it's boring, well, it's not.
Right. There are definitely different layers. Thank you, Vanessa. There are definitely different layers of it. And once you start playing around with it and start customizing it, you'll see that you can give it a whole different look and feel and a different personality altogether, right? So are we ready to move on to the next phase, which is OTO2? Because we have covered FE, we have covered OTO1. You have a fair bit of an idea about what the niche is. You know what exactly the software is capable of doing and how it is poised to help you out. Now is the time we are going to move into an area where probably will be, rubbing shoulders with the big boys in the publishing industry. I'm talking of big publishing houses. All right. So can you hold it for a minute as I need a comfort break? So is there anybody else who has any questions so far? Maybe we can use this opportunity to kind of, take a couple of questions.
I do have a question. So I saw there's a language component, and I think before you came, you tried it, but because I do my books in French and English, so I'm just wondering if there's any ways or if you're going to add that, like the translation piece of it.
Sorry, who's this? Can you please, whenever you ask your question, can you please let me know your name as well so that, because I can't see you.
Steph.
All right, Steph. Okay. So yes, Steph, when we talk about OTO2, I will answer this question about the languages, and it's a very big deal. Okay. You know that the niche itself in the English market doesn't have a lot of supply. You are already convinced about it, right? Now imagine if you were to take this to the French market, if you were to take this to the Spanish market, if you want to create books with this kind of thing in say German market, do you realize that it's an open field for you to just kind of go ahead and probably create the first few books in there and kind of start catering to the audience? So the answer, Steph, is yes, you'll be able to do that. That is a OTO2 feature. We are working on it. We will be. So I was talking to you before this call, I told him your audience will be mesmerized with the fact that we have got a 2-year plan for this in future. Now, oftentimes when we release products, for us, the product creation process starts after the launch ends, which is a very different thought process to what you might have seen, right? So typically people release products after they are done. But for us, we never stop tinkering with the products. We keep tinkering around with them. Sometimes we kind of completely overwhelm them, overall them, and then pass on the benefits to you, right? So this is one such thing. We have got some big plans, and I'm going to talk to you about each one of those right now, okay? So lovely. So now let's start moving towards OTO2. OTO2 is where you are going to take this entire thing to a whole new level, all right? So let's get started. Now, imagine this. What are the components that you have in a word ladder, correct? You have the words inside of the ladders, and that's basically the puzzle or the activity that is to be filled up by the kid. You've got clues here. You've got instructions. What if we replace the clues that are in terms of sentences with images, correct? So if this is, the word is dog, can I have an image of a dog here instead of a loyal pet that barks? Can I do that? Do
Yep.
you think it will add value? Do you think it will add variety to your books? And I can tell you, nobody on Amazon is doing it right now. If you find such a product on Amazon, I would be surprised. Why? The answer is very simple. Okay, it's not easy to get these things done. Even whatever is available, it is created by Scholastic, which is kind of a big brand. It's not easy at all, right? It takes time, but that's not the case for you. And that is the reason. It's because of this technology and the trusted engineering team that you have available to you, we have gone ahead and created those variations for you. Let me show you how it works. Okay. So if you go to, let's say, OTO2, right? And then you click on this particular option, right? When you click on this option, you would see that a new page pops up. I don't know why it is not coming up here. Probably it's taking time because we have a video switched on. So let's say I bring this here, right? This is what I have. And then what we do is we copy this and we paste it. We bring it here, right? And then what we do is we copy it and paste it over here, right? Everyone, please accept my apologies because I'm unable to show this to you the way it should be, and the reason for that is the engineering team is still pushing out code. So every time a new code is shipped or kind of updated in the database, what happens is it messes up the entire thing, right? So this is how you would typically get a worksheet, right? This is how it would appear. And let's say we have to introduce images into this, right? So the way you would go about doing that is you would upload here and you would upload images. Then you would click on the images that are available. And when we talk about images, I'm pretty sure you have a ton of resources that you have purchased from Huw, right? So this is how you can move forward. Now, let's say we want to start with this image here. So I click on this, and and then this will be the next one. This will be the next one. So when you click, you see the sequence in which you have inserted the images, right? You see the sequences in which you have inserted this. The moment you have selected these in a proper manner and you insert to the image boxes, what you would see is all of these come here and they get organized for you. Now take a look at how these images look, right? So this is a very weird type of a presentation that I have for you because I could not show you from a template, so I just had to kind of show you a workaround, but you get the idea of what it looks like. Now this template of course doesn't do justice to it, so what we will do is we'll start with so if I have sun here, then probably this would be, where do we start? So how about sun, S-O-N, and from sun we go to sun, right? Like this. Let me just ignore this, okay? I'm just saying sun here, okay? The clue is sun. In fact, I don't need the clue here, right? I just need the instruction, and the instruction would be change the vowel, right? This is fine. This is decent enough as an instruction. So now what we do is we move from sun to fun, right? So change letter, and I would say first letter because we are moving from sun to fun. So this is what we have. Let's not have any clue because we are going to have images as clues. Now we move from fun to fan, right? So I'm going here, and what I would do is I would change a vowel, right? Change any vowel, right? And then I don't need the clues, right? Now take a look at this. Take a look at how beautiful this page design looks. Okay. Now, of course, there are multiple options that I didn't show you. One of them is this, where when you change the layout, it will be automatically adjusted, right? It will automatically adjust itself and it will be available for you. Okay. So imagine having a page layout like this. Now, can I have some initial feedback from you. How does this look? Does this look like a really nice way of presenting content that young audiences or young children would be able to relate to? Do you feel that with this kind of a content you'll be able to stand out in the KTP marketplace? Can I get a yes or no, please? Now this is how your page looks. Now I had to drag and drop, but you don't have to, because when you get a template, you would see that the template would be nicely organized. It will be available for you in a proper manner. And this is how you'll be able to create word ladders based on image clues. So you don't have a clue here. You have the image, which is a representation of the clue. And based on that image, the user has to write this. Then, of course, you have the instruction, correct? So let's get some feedback. Steph says, yeah. Vanessa says yes. Andromeda says yes. Hugh says yes. Very much so. Brilliant. Brilliant. Valerie says, stop it. Wow. We haven't get started, everyone. We are just getting warmed up right now. Okay. So this is where we are, right? And you have the complete control over the creative aspects, right? You are the one who dictates the look and feel of your pages. Do you want me to change the look and feel of this image right now in front of you? Can I get a yes in the chat box if you want me to give it a completely new look and feel, right? All right, let's do this. Let's do this, okay? So how about I do this? Do you see what's going on over here? Okay? Think about it. It's that simple and straightforward. You could move this around. You could have this altered, right? And the best part, when you alter this and create something of your own, you could use that as a template by cloning it and then using the regular changes that we have planned out to update it. Okay, so that is one of the most important aspects, because not only you are getting to kind of play around and play around with the options and creating your own content pieces, you are actually able to use this as a template and create another page which will allow you to kind of do something very similar to this. Okay, so this is the first big product. In fact, OTO2 is an amalgamation of multiple products. This is the first product that we have in the lineup for OTO2. And as I said, we are just getting started. All right. So is this impressive? Give me an I in the chat box, please, if you are impressed with the ability that you see that the application provides you as far as image clues are concerned. Okay, so you could use any of these resource packs that are available and craft something like this. And the best part, you don't have competition, absolutely zero. That's a bold statement. I know what I'm saying, and I'm saying this with utmost responsibility. You will not find a competitive product right now on Amazon. So this is a true definition of a blue ocean opportunity. All right. Now, moving on to the next thing, this is where the game changes completely, because what we are doing is we are taking the fun stuff that we have seen so far and kind of slapping it on top of a very important aspect that kids go through, or a very important educational part that the kids go through during the journey, right? So we are talking about vowel sounds. We are getting into the area of phonics right here. Okay, so if you want to talk about phonics and you have vowel sounds to talk about, what are you thinking? You are probably thinking about long A sounds. Anybody here who relates to vowel sounds the way it is taught to kids over the years as they mature and they kind of start to learn more and more words and all of those combinations? Does it ring a bell when I say long A, long E, long I, long O, long U, or short A, short E, short I, short O, short U? If it resonates with you, can you just give me a yes in the chat box so I know how many of you can relate to it? Vanessa says yes. Anybody else? Philip says yes. Lovely. Hugh says yes. Andrew says yes. And if you cannot relate to this, don't worry. All you have to do is just go to Amazon, right? Go to Amazon and type phonics activity books. You will see the massive demand that is there, right? The massive demand that is there. And this is a very unique way of catering to it. Now, you are not just publishing a word ladder book on any subject, you're rather getting into the realm of the educational content that can be taught using this interesting medium. All right. So what I'm going to do is, Vanessa says phonemes, right? That's great. So when we click on this option, this is one of the examples that we have. When you get the product, you will be seeing it in a much more organized fashion. But this is what it is all about, right? Now, cat, what is the vowel sound for this? The vowel sound for this is short A, right? Short A, and then you would have a spelling pattern, and then you would have a word family and so on, correct? So when you go to Google and you search for the different short A patterns, you will see that there are multiple word families that are associated with it. Now take a look at how we are dealing with it, okay? And this is a completely separate product than what you've seen. Even though it looks similar, it's actually different. Let me show you what I mean by that. How many of you can recognize that this screen here is a little different from what we had earlier? They don't use the catchphrase hooked on phonics for no reason, right? So here you see we have the base word cat, and you can see that you can select the vowel sound short A. When you select short A, you would see that there is a spelling pattern associated with it. Now this is not completely developed or updated inside of the interface, so I'm unable to show you right now, but this is what I meant by a 2-year game plan that we have to develop this. Because I mean, if you've been around in my ecosystem, then you know that we take our time. We take our time because we truly believe in creating products that has an everlasting effect on your business, because we use our own products in our own businesses, just like Huw does, right? So that is the reason why I mentioned we have a long-term game plan for this. Now, take a look at short A. You would see the spelling patterns associated with short A show up here. Then you would go about looking at the word families that are associated with short A. And when you click on the word families, you will see AT, AN, AD. When you choose AT, you would see that the resulting words that come up are all AT words. These are all short A words. These all correspond to the spelling pattern of A, and these all belong to word family AT, right? So when you go for AN and you start working with it, you would see that these things would start changing. Right now they don't, because we haven't integrated it, but you can see that things are starting to change, and you will find that these words fan, clan, can, fan, man, all of these will be showing up here, so that your job becomes easier. Because think about it, when you are going to create a short A vowel sound worksheet, do you want to go ahead and start looking for things, or would you want everything to be available to you right here? Correct? The ideal thing would be to have them in front of your eyes, and that is exactly what you're working on. Now, we were not very happy with this solution either. The reason why we were not happy with this solution is because this is going to force you to update this one by one by one. We wanted something better. We wanted a much more enterprise level solution, an enterprise grade solution for our customers, for our community, and that is the reason why we are working on one of these. Let me see if I can show that to you. Admin links. Now, I've been strictly asked by the engineering team not to reveal it as of now, but I think this is a closed ecosystem, so there's not much of a problem showing it over here, right? So if you take a look at this, you'll be able to visualize long A, long E, long I, long U, long O, long U words, schwa words, diphthongs. You'll be able to go with the short A, E, I, O, U, and all of that. You'll be able to see R controlled words. In future, we'll be adding CVC words, CVCE words, and silent letters and so on, silent words and all of that stuff, right? So this is a whole ecosystem that we're talking about. And as you can see, this kind of an ecosystem cannot be developed over a period of a few months. So we are going to take our time and evolve this. And in future, when you get OTO2 now, you will be getting access to these things that we develop on the word ladder, right? And when it comes to word ladder, you can actually be very creative, because you now have this educational content that can be slapped onto this beautiful medium of teaching or helping kids get fluency in the subject. and we are going to make the most of it, right? So this is an interface that we are creating for you. Now, please don't hold me accountable because this is not going to be a part of your sales pages. I know that this group on this call is Hugh's trusted core group, and that is why I'm feeling comfortable showcasing this. Please do not hold me accountable if you don't get access to this. This is not a part of your product. We have some ambitious plans of releasing this in future, and probably will do that. But moving back, right? Moving back to the product, you know that you can actually create products that that cater to various literacy requirements. Say, for example, you would be creating products that cater to long vowels, short vowels, vowel sounds, and so on. Take a look at this. You've got all the short and long vowel sounds here. You've got the R-controlled, sounds here. You've got the diphthongs here, and you've got double O and schwa. So all of these options are available right now. So by the time we launch this, all of this will be readily available to you so that you can start using them in your workbooks. In future, we will continue to develop this and add the CVC words for you. So you'll be able to create CVC words, worksheets, or workbooks that you publish on Amazon KDP, right? Go ahead and search these terms, CVC workbooks or practice books, phonics practice books, vowel sounds practice books, and so on. You will see diphthong practice books. You will see that these are these niches which are laser targeted and people are minting money, right? That's because they have presented themselves in a manner where it actually adds a tremendous amount of value to the users in the marketplace, and there are not a lot of players in there because it's a very specialized subject. While many of us can now take the advantage of the LLMs like ChatGPT and all to come up with the words, presenting them and creating them in a way that they can be formatted easily has been difficult, which is what we are solving with this particular product. All right. So this is what we have in OTO2. In addition to whatever I have shown, as you can see, this will be broken down into 14 different products. Like all of these will be different products. Our controlled section is a completely different product. Short A, long A, these are all separate engines that we have built so that you can use them to create different types of books. Now, we have spoken about all of these options. We have spoken about the image updates that give you image clues. Now comes the big feature that we haven't spoken about, and that is giving you the opportunity to work with international languages, which include Spanish, French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Dutch, Swedish, Danish, Norwegian. So total, I think I'm not sure how many of these will be giving in the offer when we actually finalize the sales pages. But most of what you see here will be available. You can ignore this, but Russian, Bulgarian, Norwegian, Danish, Swedish, Dutch, Portuguese, Italian, German, French, Spanish, all of these will be available. Now you can create or use these language options to create the words that are available here, and these can be changed or written, you just write it or copy and paste it from some other source in order to be able to create them. Now, please note that when we use international languages, we cannot give word suggestions because that would be a Herculean affair because we do not have command over the language, right? We do not understand. Say, for example, we don't understand French, but you do, right? So when you do understand French, all you have to do is go with your words, and you know that nothing is restricting you because you can actually override the options that are available, right? And when you override the options that are available to you, you can have complete control over it. And forget all of these. Forget the right-hand side drawer. You have the bulk clone option because you might have got OTO1. When you have that, just create the input file and create your French book in French or your book in Spanish or in German exactly the way you want it. All right. So that is another big feature that we have as a part of OTO1. So all of these will be presented on the sales page to you. Some of them you'll get immediately, and some of them will be made available to you over a period of time as and when we develop them. For example, CVC words will not be available right away, but you know that niche is massive. Just go ahead and do some research on Amazon. You will know what I'm talking about. CVC words, again, massive niche, right? So you can either go ahead and create standalone books, or you could mix and match this up with other types of books that you're creating. Recently, we released a product called SiteWords. This is a great complementary product for that as well, because you can actually use SiteWords over here and forget about the instructions altogether, but just go with clues and let them figure it out from the SiteWords that are available, right? So those are certain ideas that you can implement by combining the power of these applications along with whatever products you're building, right? So that is what we will be having in OTO 2, multiple language options. And as you can see, each one of these features, right, each one of these products that we are talking about, it probably would have been sold as an individual product. I just wanted to make sure that we go all out and deliver a tremendous amount of value to you, so that you actually come back to us and buy from us again on Hugh's recommendation. Because at the end of the day, if we are able to deliver a massive value to you, I'm pretty sure there'll be some level of reciprocation that will come through. All right. So that's how businesses are built, isn't it? So that is all about OTO 2. And in OTO 3, what we are going to do is we are going to give you illustrations, 500 illustrations and 500 simplified icon versions of those in the format that I showed you. And those images are crafted by my in-house team, as some of you might know, some of you might not know. Very similar to Huw, I have an in-house team as well. So that team creates that. So you can be rest assured of the design quality. I'm pretty sure you can attest to that. So that is what is available as a part of OTO 3 offer, right? So that is the product in a nutshell. I did not dive into the details of it, but I hope I have been able to explain to you what it is all about and whether it would be a good fit for your business, right? Huw, I think that's all that I have from my side.